Welcome to New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. Today, in this episode, we're going to be looking at some film stock. This is kind of one of my first kind of actual videos where I'm actually just going to sit and talk about some film. What I wanted to do over, the coming next few months is just start to look at some films and not so much review them, but just go out and use them and give you my opinion on the film. So today's episode's on Fuji Superia Extra 400, and I guess the reason why I chose this film for this episode, being the first in this kind of series, is it's just a cheap film. It's readily available. A 400 speed film, which makes it good for just general use. And I'd also heard a lot of good things about it, so I thought, good place to start. Let's check this film out. Let's do a review on it, just see what we think. Before I start, just thanks to Walkins Film in Australia, because this is where I got the film. I just want to just kind of tip my hat to you guys for providing a great service and getting the film to me. They're not sponsoring this episode or this channel or anything. I just like to kind of recognise people who do things well, and Walkins got a good feel about them. They you can tell they love photography and they love film photography, so it's good to support these people. I'm going to use the spec sheet of Walkins' website just to give you a background of the film, and I'll read it directly. Superia Extra 400 is a great quality colour film from Japan, the flagship 35mm colour film from Fuji. It's a versatile 400 ISO film offering excellent colour reproduction and fine grain images. It's a great option for beginners and pros alike, ideal for compact automatic cameras. 36 exposures per roll, daylight balanced colour negative film, ISO 400, 27 degrees and C41 process, super fine grain and high sharpness. Wide exposure latitude, fourth colour layer for accurate colours, and it's made in Japan. Just on price, again, I've said it's a cheap film. This cost me $7, just over $7 Australian for this film, which works out to be about $8.50 per roll, plus shipping obviously, but that's pretty cheap. So the shots you're about to see came from my trip to Tauranga Taupo, which was documented pretty well in my last video. That's up here. Everything I shot was on my Leica M6, 35mm Summicron. I also did some comparison shots on the Leica M8, which is one of my Leica digital cameras. My attitude towards colour film up until now has really been to stay away from it, because I just can't really see the point of shooting colour film over shooting digital. But this roll kind of changed my attitude, really. I was exceptionally pleased with the results that I got from it. And like I said, the pictures weren't really great, but I was really happy with the quality of images, the colour quality, the sharpness, for a 400 speed film, the grain was pretty fine. For a cheap film, it gave me some really good results. And it's a film that I probably would be more than keen to use again and just experiment with. More than happy with it. Very, very pleased. When I was down there, I was one of the things that really drew me in on this trip was the trees. And I took a lot of shots of trees, and I tried to compose some kind of artistic shots of trees. So I took a few shots, and one in particular that I really liked that I took with this film was a shot of a tree. And I just loved the colours in this image. I think a good example of the quality of this film. One of the other things we did when we were down by the lake, we went for a walk one day up the river, back in the bush, and this spot's a real hot fishing spot for anglers, and this area in general is a famous fishing spot, and it's people travel from all over the world to come and fish here. And the day that we walked up the river was no exception. There was half a dozen fishermen fishing the river, and obviously I had my camera with me. I had this roll of film on the camera, and managed to get some shots of the fishermen up the river. One guy in particular was kind enough to let me photograph him and fly my drone over him while he was casting and fishing. And I got a couple of shots of the fishermen there, but Some good examples, again, as a landscape film, for landscape photography, I think it performs pretty well actually. I think it's probably like a really good general use film. I mean, I'm more than happy with the colour representation that I got from this. Again, like I said, good dynamic range in the film. Performed very well for a cheap film, for a mass-produced cheap film, exceptionally good. Here's my favourite image. One of my favourite images of the weekend was the shed. They had this old shed where they stored all these games and old barbecues and tool sheds, and had cobwebs all through this thing, and games cabinet at the back of it, and front of the shed just an old rickety door with an old rusty lock and a padlock on there, and I just thought it would make a nice shot, and probably my favourite shot with the film. And as you can see, it's really good detail, and again for a 400 speed film, pretty small grain on that. I'm really impressed with the quality of the images off this film. Very, very good. Here's an old tree. There's a tree on this beach, and it was actually like somebody obviously painted this tree, and had to take a couple of pictures of that as well. And again, pleased with the images. I mean, not a fantastic picture, but a good example of what the film can do, I think. Nice colour representation. It was good. I've got a couple of comparison images here for you to have a look at. When I was taking shots outside of the little batch that we were staying in down at Tauranga Taupo there, I grabbed the Leica M8, which is my digital Leica that I had with me that day, and put the 35mm Summicron on that camera and just did some shots around the back of the garden of the batch. After I did that, I grabbed the Leica M6 with the Superia film in it and took some similar shots just to maybe have a look at some comparisons between the film shots and the digital. So that's Fuji Superia Extra 400. Hope that was of some use to you, and if you're thinking about using this film, again, just to summarise, a film that was good enough to change my opinion of colour film. One of the better colour films that I've used, and I haven't used a lot of colour film, but I'll be using more of this for sure, and it's made me want to use more colour film in the future, and we'll be reviewing more colour film in the next week, 2, 3 or 4. So thanks to Fuji Superia. I mean, it has changed, refreshed my view on colour film. I think a big part about using, I guess, not just film, cameras as well, but let's talk about film. One of the things I kind of struggle with a little bit is having, I guess, sometimes, particularly using colour film, is having confidence with my results. And I think when you start to gain confidence with your results, it's like when you're using a camera. When you start to gain confidence in your equipment, it kind of relieves part of the pressure of taking photographs, and you kind of, with that extra confidence, your images start to improve. And I think a big stumbling block for me with colour film has been confidence in using it. Like I said, this film has changed my opinion of colour film, and it's made me quite excited about using more colour film in the future. So it's all good. I would recommend this film for anybody if you're starting out in photography, or if you're wanting a good stock colour film that you can use for general use and you want to use a lot of it. This is a definite starter. So can't recommend it highly enough. Hope you enjoyed that. I kind of enjoyed doing this one, and like I say, I would do more of these in the coming weeks and months. So it was kind of cool. That's it for this episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd appreciate it. When you subscribe, make sure you hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. That means that you'll get any notifications when I put videos out. So when I put a video out, you'll find out about it straight away, and you'll watch it, which is what it's all about. If you'd like to support my channel further, my book Stolen Moments is out, and check out the link here for that. Just a big thank you to everybody who's purchased that book, and the feedback I've got from this fantastic. One of the coolest things I've done on this channel, and to be able to put out a book and get the feedback that I have about how it has inspired other people to go and do more photography. That's what this channel's all about. Thank you very much. Like I say, if you'd like to go and buy the book, link up here for that. I'll ship that book anywhere in the world free of charge for $25. $25 I think equates to about 14 euros, about 12 US dollars or about £10. And like I say, I'll ship that anywhere in the world free of charge. My book Stolen Moments, please go and check it out. Please go and buy it. I'd really appreciate it. That's it for this episode. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. Next episode, I'm going to be doing a kind of a channel review kind of episode. There's a few people I want to thank, a few little issues I want to kind of address. So that's next time. Until next time, please take care. Please come back again soon. Haere rā from New Zealand. Goodbye. Thank you.